Module 1, Section 4, and this video is going to be on Objective 9. And it says, find the missing side in a composite rectangular figure. Okay, now this is important because we know that the sides are going to be parallel. You know, they're going to not get closer together as you get further along. So like this is not, that's really bad, but that's not a rectangle, is it? Okay, it's a trapezoid, if you remember what those are. But you can't tell from this one what the sides are. But this one, because they're nice right angles and straight lines, you're going to be able to figure it out. So we're doing polya on this one as well. So we're going to do our 4-step process. So let's understand what we've got. Okay, we're going to read through the entire thing. So Olivia's backyard patio has a large swimming pool. She would like to enclose all of the patio around the pool with a safety fence to protect her young children. Below is a diagram of the pool and the patio area she would like to fence. So how much fencing does she need? Okay, so this part in here is the pool, and here is the fencing that she's going to use. Okay, so do we understand what's going on? Sure. Okay, however, we're missing something, aren't we? We don't know what that side is. We're going to have to figure that one out, aren't we, in order to figure out what the perimeter of that weird shape is. So, building my plan, first of all, I want to figure out what this is, and then I'm just going to add all the way around to get my perimeter. Okay, so we're going to start right there. So execute time. Here we go. Let's find that one side. So this side here, nice and messy, is going to be the same as the other side. But this other side is in two parts. Here's the top part, and here's the bottom part. So we're going to take those two sides and add them together and see what that right-hand side was. Okay, so we're going to have 25, and we're going to add 15 to it. So this whole thing is 40 feet. And because it's rectangular, then I'm going to erase this really messy part over here, sorry. This side over here is going to equal the other side, which is 40. Okay, so now that we've found that side, we're going to add all the way across, around, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different measurements added up. So we're going to start with the 20, 25, 10, 15, 30, and 40. Okay, now you can add those up from left to right. You can find which two you want to add first to make it easy. You can do any way that you want. Personally, I'm going to add the 25 and the 15 because to me, those are the only ones that don't end in zeros. And I know if I add the 5s together, I will get 10, and it will end in a 0 by doing that. Okay, so these two, 25 and 15, you possibly could do it in your head. But if not, do some work off to the side, and you get 40. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring these others down. So we have 20, the 40 that we got, 10 that got left behind, the 30, and then 40. So we have 20 plus 40 is 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 40. So 140 total. And that's feet. Because does it make sense to have 140 feet of fencing? Sure it does. So if we've done our math correctly, then we're probably looking pretty good. Okay, so that was our review portion. And 140 is the answer. Okay, this is example 9, and that looks like a big mess, doesn't it? Okay, so I cleared off all of the extra stuff on the next page, and we're going to do it again ourselves on this one. Okay, so find the perimeter of that figure and be sure to include appropriate units in your answer. Figures are not drawn to scale. Okay, so let's do our polio process here. So let's understand what we've got. Take a look at our shape here. We're finding the perimeter, so we want to go all the way around the outside. We're missing this side and this side. So we need to find those two sides. Once we find those two sides, we can find it, can't we? Okay, so building my plan is I want to find this one and this one. And then I will add all of those together and see what I get. Okay, execute time. Here we go. All right, now since these are rectangular, this side here would be equal to this side here, right? But this portion right here comes from this portion right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take that 80 and bring it over on that side so we can see it better. Okay, so what do I add to 80 to get this side the same as this side? So what number, add 80, is equal to 170? Okay, so we have the two small numbers added up to give me the big number. So I'm going to subtract one of the small ones from the big one. 17 minus 8 is 9. So that means right here is 90 meters. Now let's do the other one that we're missing. Okay, let's see, this top part, because it's rectangular, is going to equal the same as the opposite side, which is this part, right? But we're missing part of that one as well. So this 90 is going to move down, and that's going to be this one little part of it, but we still have this part. So that plus 90 has to equal the 160 meters from the other side. So what number added to 90 gives you 160? So you're going to subtract again like we did before. And that would be 70. Okay, so that means this part right there is 70. Okay, now let's redraw this just quickly and we can see what we've got. So that's 170. This is 160. We found this to be 90. This was already given to us as 90. This was given as 80. And we found that this one was 70. So let's add them all up. Okay, so 160, 90, 90, 80, 70, and 170. Okay, so my plan of attack for this one, see these are 3-digit numbers. I'm going to leave those alone, and I'm going to add these in here first. Okay, so like these two numbers and these two numbers. So the 160 comes down. This is just what I chose to do. There's all kinds of different options. 90 plus 90 would be 180. And 80 plus 70 would be 150. And then the 170 comes down. Okay, at this point, it might be just as easy to line them up and see what we get. So let's see. If we have 160, 180, 150, and 170, and we're going to add those all up. Ones place gives you a 0. All right, so now we have 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 add 5 is 19. 19 add 7 is 26. So 26. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, wrong color, huh? 6. So this is 660 meters. Does that look pretty possible? We've executed, so now we're going to review. Is it possible? Let's see. If this is over 100 and this is over 100, these two are close to 100, so we have 1, 2, 3, 400 so far, and then those extras, so that's probably 500. And now these two together are 600 and extra. So, yeah, it looks pretty close, doesn't it? So let's go back and see what they got. Sure enough, 660. And you can see that they got the same numbers that we did. They just put them in a different order. Okay. Would I do it differently? Maybe. Maybe this stuff up here was a little confusing for you, but we're going to do a couple others that we can go over that again. And here are the couple others that we're going to do. Okay. All right. So looking, since this isn't really a story problem or anything, I'm not going to worry about the pollia completely. I just want to explain how to find those missing sides. Okay. So we're missing this one. So what I'm going to do is look at the horizontal, or the top, and the bottom, because the top and the bottom of a rectangle are the same, right? So if I were to move this side up next to the 7, move it up to here, so I went a little too far, didn't I? That would make the entire side of the rectangle that would match this side. Okay, so what am I going to put here so that they add to 23? Okay, so I'm going to figure out 7 plus something equals 23. So we're going to have to subtract, right? Okay, so 23 minus 7. And do some borrowing. 13 minus 7 is 6. 1 minus nothing is 1. So 7 plus 16 is 23, which means this question mark right there is our 16. So now all the way across here is 23, just like all the way across here is 23. Okay, so it's important to know that there are rectangular shapes, that there's straight lines, straight up and down, and straight across, and right angles, and all that kind of stuff, okay? All right, now, I need to figure out what this one is, don't I? Okay, so I am going to, first of all, draw that better. Secondly, I'm going to slide it over here and put it in. So now this whole side is going to be the same length as this whole side, which is 56. Okay, so what does this have to be, the dotted part, so that I add it to 35 to get 56. Okay, so something, add 35, is equal to 56. Again, we're going to subtract. This time it's easier. We don't have to borrow, so it's 21, which means right up here is 21 meters. So that this whole side is the same as this whole side. Okay? So now let me get rid of, so we had 16 and 21. You can see them in the blanks down there at the bottom. I'm going to draw them in up here so we can see exactly what we have so we can find our perimeter. Okay, so 7 plus 16, so that goes here, is the same as 23. And now 35 add 21 is the same as 56. So now let's figure out what the perimeter is. Okay, so I'm going to slide it up just a little bit. Maybe. Right to there is all I get, huh? Okay, so 7 plus 21 plus 16 plus 35, 23, and 56. Those are all of them going all the way around. Okay, can you see any two that would be easier to add first? Not necessarily, huh? Okay, so I'm just going to do them two at a time. So 7 and 21 is 28. 16 and 35, and you can check me by doing it off to the side, is 51. And 23 and 56 is 79. Now 51 and 79, the 9 and the 1 give you a 10, right? So 10. And then 12 plus the extra 10 gives me 13. Plus 28. So this is equal to 158 meters. Okay, so that's my perimeter of that shape. Okay, the next one. Let's find our missing sides first. Okay, so this one right there is missing. And I'm going to add it onto the 180, because between the two of them I have this little one and that one to give me 230, right? So if this is 180, what does this have to be in order for this whole thing to be 210? So we would do 210 minus 180, and you would find that this has to be 30. Okay, so that means this is 30 meters right there. Okay, let's do the other direction. Okay, the other direction, meaning up and down. Okay, so from the top to the bottom of the figure is 60. So here's from the top to the middle-ish is 30. And now here's from the middle to the bottom. What does that have to be? Okay, so here's the top half. And I keep saying half, but that's because I know the answer, and I apologize. It really is a half. Okay, so we have 30, and then we don't know what. But that has to be 30 in order for it to equal 60. So it means this is 30 meters as well. Okay, so I'm going to start right here and go all the way across. So we get 230 plus 30 plus 180 plus 30 plus another 30 plus 60. Okay, is there an easier way of going through it than straight across? Possibly. Let me show you. Okay, I'm going to do the 30 and the 30 because they're smaller, and I get 60. Okay, then this 30 and this 60, because they're small and they're easy to add, is 90. Okay, then these other two, the 230 and the 180, I'm just going to leave for right now. Okay, and I'm still going to work on these two because they're smaller and easier. So those two add up to give you 150. And now we have, we have 230 plus 180 plus 150. And at this point, putting them up and down is probably just as easy as anything else. So 0, 0, and 0 give you 0. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 plus 5 is 16. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. Plus another 1 is 5. So it's 560 meters. And that's the end of this one. So you're finding the missing measurements and then the perimeter.